10 o'clock, I'm going to go ahead and get this work session started, and I'm just going to make a couple of amendments to it right quick. We had a couple of things that come up. I know we got 4 items on there, but the 5th item, part-time inspector for planning and development, the individual that was doing that, his business has picked up so much, he's not going to do it, so we'll give a quick explanation on that one. And also, we have received the airport legislation that we've been waiting on for so long, has showed up. So just want to give you all a heads up on that. We would like to probably at the next county meeting get the airport individual sworn in at that point. But anyway, we'll go ahead and start up at number 1. Item for discussion, designated Pickens County as a Purple Heart County. Last year we had got the information, but it had come in just a little bit late. We'd get it on the agenda for last year, but we're going to get it on the agenda for this year. And there's a proclamation out that Pickens County is a Purple Heart County. Purple Heart Day, of course, is August the 7th, 2016. Whereas the people of Pickens County have great admiration for the utmost gratitude for all the men and women who have selflessly served their country and this community and armed forces, and whereas veterans have paid the high price of freedom by leaving their families and communities and placing themselves in harm's way for the good of all, and whereas the contributions and sacrifices of men and women from Pickens County who serve in the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedoms and the way of life enjoyed by our citizens, and whereas many men and women in uniform have given their lives while serving in the armed forces, and whereas on April 26, 2014, Governor Nathan Deal officially designated August 7th as Purple Heart Day in Georgia to remember and recognize the veterans who are recipients of the Purple Heart Medal. And then it goes on and it says, now therefore be it resolved that Pickens County Board of Commissioners hereby proclaim Pickens County Purple Heart County and proclaim August 7th as Purple Heart Day in Pickens County, honoring the service and sacrifice of nations, men and women who are wounded or killed by the enemy while serving to protect the freedoms that we all enjoy. This, if will be all right with the other 2 commissioners, we will read this at the next meeting, and hopefully we will get approved. The items, a couple items we need to work at though is how many signs we need to get and what roads we're going to have to put them on. All that will have to be worked out. So we do want to follow that one through. Any questions in regard to that? All right. The next item on the agenda is a Tate Depot lease and usage agreement. We have been approached by Marble Valley Friends to look at this. This is a proposed lease that they would like to address to the commissioners for the Tate Depot. We have read through it, got a few questions. We do need to have a few more meetings with Marble Valley Friends to be sure they know what they're asking for. So it's not as simple as signing over a lease to them for the full access to the building. But anyway, we do have a proposed draft lease for that. Got any questions on that one? Do you got any questions on that? Yeah. And then number 3 is update on leases. We have 3 leases that we've been working on. I have received a lease for the State Patrol Office. They're wanting that renewed. Also, we have 2 other leases that have come up. Downstairs in the new courthouse, there's 2 offices that are being used by the state probation. They were moved in there back in January, February, March of this year because the building that we're in had some mold issues. So we had agreed to let them move in there on the agreement that they would get the lease signed. So finally, we're getting down to the lease on that one. Me and Mr. Landon have looked at many of them. I think we finally got everything worked out, and so we should be receiving a hard copy of that particular lease this week. That's what I was promised last week. The DFACS building across the street here, also we should be receiving a lease on that particular building. And it's supposed to come in this week also. I haven't seen either one of them yet. All the details have been worked out. We need to run that. I'd like to look at the leases and verify that, as well as Mr. Landrum and the other 2 commissioners look at and see if they have any questions before those get signed. But those are coming down the pike, hopefully this week. So any questions on that? The only question that most of the public will have will be the fact that the State Patrol building is still $1 a year. It was kind of a renewable thing that was done back in 2004. ain't a whole lot I can do about that, but they do want to lease the building again. I have not signed off on that lease this time, but I'll have to get permission from, or authority from the other two commissioners to do so. The two offices downstairs in the courthouse was $1.30. I think it was $1.30 a square foot, I believe, per month, not a year. $1.30 a square foot per month. And then this building here across the road was 8,400 square feet at $1 a month on that lease. $1 a month. Per square foot a month, that's correct. $1 per square foot a month on that particular building. There's also details in there about maintenance, heating, air conditioning, those type of things. So we want to review all that and be sure that's what before we sign those leases also. Any questions on them? Yeah. All right. Also, we have on number 4, we have received the bids on the generators. One of them was going to be at 694 Pearl Johnson Road in Fairmount, Georgia, and the other one's at 4299 Jerusalem Church Road in Jasper, Georgia. These are for the pumping stations. These are actually, Johnny, if I'm not mistaken, aren't these federal government grants?
Yes.
Tied into the federal government grants for these two particular generators. We got 2 bids, one of them from Bird Electric. That bid totaled out at, where did that bid total out at?
Page 2 is
Well,
the first one.
53,970.
Well, 53,970.
Total, or
Yeah. That's for the,
That's each.
that's for the Pearl Johnson one, and the one at Jerusalem Church totaled that at 53,970 also. So you put those together, you got probably $106, $107, $108,000 for both those generators there. Genspring put in a bid too for the 2 of them. The one at let's look here. The one at Pearl Johnson bid on the Pearl Johnson generator.
They just did a total for the 2.
Yeah, the total for the 2 is, yeah, $82,413. Total for 2 here is about 107, 108, and the total for the 2 there are $82,413.75. Both of them are identical units. Genspring. Now, so we'll need to work. We'll need to approve these, approve or deny these at the next county meeting that we have. Genspring's a Kohler generator, and the Bird Electric is an Onan generator.
is that it was about the 4-way stop over Jerusalem?
Yeah, because Larry, those were 2 permanently mounted generators for backup, and I think that's one of them was, the one at Pearl Johnson is where we have that pumping station there to bring water in, and then the one at Jerusalem is at the 4-way stop there, that brick building there, and those are 2 for right now. Now there is still some workings out there for a few more generators.
We got workings for 4 more.
Yeah, or we can get them on our pumping stations. So those items will be coming up at the next meeting. Got any? And they are diesel, by the way. Both of them are diesel. Let's see here. I haven't really had time to look at these this week. Just got them in. Let's see.
1 year on something, but
Yeah.
I didn't include it.
1 year total
Genspring
warranty.
included it.
Total.
Yeah, 1 year total warranty on generators on those. This should be a 1 year warranty also.
It didn't say it. Doesn't say it.
They consider that the motor and the generator all combined? Or
Yes, yeah, it's one unit because it's one of these, kind of like what we've got down here at the recreation center where the generator sits on top of the fuel tank and all of them come as one unit. And
Is
then
that just emergency or is it
Yes.
something that's going to run?
emergency. And they've got, they also come with a transfer switch, automatic transfer, ATS switch to be in the building. I think they call these, I think both of these are just rated at 24-hour total output, which means if you got a full load for 24 hours, the fuel tank will last 24 hours. They will actually last a little longer than that, but there's hardly ever you run full. All right, any other questions on those? No. There will have to be a pad poured, conduit installed, that type of stuff. And then I think we're going to have some fencing moved to go around, and then we got to look at that to set the fencing. The fencing's got to be about 3 foot. It will have to be at least 3 foot minimum from the generator for service work all the way around, and for code. All right. That brings us down to a quick one on item number 5. I'm going to let Richard, if y'all have a minute, talk about what he's wanting to do. We'll have to do something probably at the next open meeting. Richard, I'm about the part-time inspector. You want to tell us what's going on there?
Yes, sir. A memo and an agreement will be in writing for the Board of Commissioners meeting. So I'll just give you an explanation and let you know that yes, we will have all this in writing for the meeting for a formal vote. We've got a good problem in the sense that it's really a challenge that development has increased. And so what we had the other day was our one inspector took a vacation day. And nothing wrong with that. It's his right to do so. But since he's the only one, the next day when he came back, because right now we don't have a backup person. We used to, but as the economy improved, the backup person has his own work to do, and just no longer wants to do work for us. No hard feelings, but he just is covered up.
Yeah.
So just by being out one day. Our inspector has been here for a year, Richard Bruce, and in that year, this day coming back, he did more work than he's done in any other day in the entire year. So we want to have good customer service to our folks, and we don't want to have a day moving forward where we just have to turn away business and say, no, we can't do an inspection this day because our one guy is sick or in training or on vacation. We've got an existing company, as y'all know, Bureau Veritas, who provides commercial inspections on call. And they've had a good track record with us for the last year, very professional, do work for us and other North Georgia counties and cities and in a few other states. And their one contact guy that we deal with a lot is Tim Inglis, and so he's really good, really responsive to work with. He's got some guys when he's tied up who will come out. So, it's a variety of people on call, and even though development has increased, it's not nearly to the level of 2005, 2006, 2007 when we had 2 or 3 inspectors. We just don't need it at this point. We don't have the workload. And it would be a cost savings significantly to have an on-call residential inspector. What we're looking at as a revised agreement from Bureau Veritas is when needed, they would charge us $75 an hour for a minimum 4 hours at a time. And I give you a cost comparison of what that means. Let's say in a given year, if this agreement is voted on and approved, let's say they work an 8-hour day at that $75 an hour, and they work 20 days over the calendar year. Well, that's going to be a flat $12,000 fee. If we hire a new full-time inspector, it's going to be over $30,000 a year. So definitely a win-win situation for the taxpayers, and given that Bureau Veritas has a good track record of being responsive, I think they're going to provide efficient and thorough code review.
We have to give them at least a 24-hour notice that we're going to need one of their inspectors in the next day. And they'll show, what's the 24-hour notice, 8-hour notice? What's their notice capability?
We could call them the afternoon before and say, hey, I just found out Richard Bruce is sick, can you come in the next day? And because they have several guys in the area, yeah, they can jump on it.
Okay. All right, any questions from that one?
No.
Sure. All right, that brings us down to, Deborah, I believe, received the airport legislation last week, wasn't it? And personally, I haven't had time to review all that to be sure that everything's up to a nit and a tittle. But what that does, it gives us now the ability, once we get through it and read it, that we can go ahead and get the airport board sworn back in. So I would recommend that maybe next county meeting, we get at least some of them sworn, then they can show up, get some of them sworn in, as long as the legislation looks like what we had intended for it to get changed. Got any questions on that? Jerry?
No.
Other than that, I don't, Ms. Fay, you got anything going on? Richard? Larry? John?
No.
Tucker? Any questions? Well, other than that, hope we get some more rain this afternoon. Y'all take care. Have a good weekend. Thank you. Meeting is now adjourned.